Did you know that your brain is really good at processing pictures? In fact, according to findings by neuroscientists at MIT, our brains can process entire images that the eye sees for as little as 13 milliseconds. Humans are very visual, so take advantage of that trait by showing instead of just telling. So when you're teaching kids, instead of just lecturing them, give them something to look at. They will not only catch on more quickly, but they will also have more fun and they will remember it better. In this video, I'll show you what parts of your program you can visualize and the do's and the don'ts for making your own visuals. So let's get started. Oh, this is so bad. There are 4 different ways to communicate. The first one is spoken communication, like saying the word stop. There's nonverbal communication, there's written communication, like writing the word stop. Visualized communication is something that is a picture. And today we're going to focus on nonverbal communication. So using pictures, using images to show rather than tell. Now, why would we go through so much trouble to visually communicate? It's because you've got something really important to teach. In fact, it can be life-changing. So how do visuals enhance your lesson? First, visuals draw the children's interest and attention, kind of like this. You'll have to stick around to find out what's inside. Second, the right visuals can explain what you mean instead of using a lot of words to explain. For example, imagine this. Think of a 2-dimensional geometric shape with all points on its boundary at an equal distance from its center. It creates a perfectly round figure in a shade often associated with flowers and bubblegum. Or you could show them this pink circle. Third, visuals help kids remember the lesson more than if you just talked at them. Jesus, the master teacher, used a lot of visuals in his teaching. What do these images remind you of? Always bring something for the kids to look at. Never just lecture, never just talk at them. Because unless you're a gifted mind, you're going to need them. What are some of the parts of the children's program that you can visualize? Technically, you can visualize all parts of the program, but let's go through 5 areas. The first area are the rules, the rewards, and the consequences. I highly recommend you list the rules in a way that the kids can read or see the rules. That helps them know without a doubt what is expected of them, because it's not fair for them to expect behavior if you never state what is expected. And once you have stated the expected behavior, let them know how they're doing. Use visuals like the jars and the gems to show them if they're doing well or if they can do better. Another way you can visualize rules is with hearts. You can use hearts in different colors to show how they're doing. Orange is they're doing pretty good, red, they're not doing so hot, and green is they're doing very well. And if you have a little mascot that's moving along the hearts, they can know without a doubt how they are doing. So that was the rules. Next, you have songs and the memory verse. Now, songs and memory verses are mostly just text enlarged. You could add some pictures or you can add some color. You can use a whiteboard, you can use a blackboard, you can use a PowerPoint slide, you can use posters. Even hand motions are a way to visualize songs and verses. Another part of the program that you can visualize is the Bible lesson. You want to make it come alive. You can use flannel graph, remember these? Pictures or images on a screen, or flashcards. You can use maps, timelines, or if you have the skills and the guts, you can draw the story on a whiteboard or a chalkboard. Actors and costumes always get kids' attention. Puppets as well. You can also use props and objects to visualize your lesson and make it come alive. You can also use video clips like animated Bible lessons or visualized Bible lessons. But I would caution you to use video clips wisely because you don't want the video to be doing most of the teaching for you. Another part of the program that you can visualize is the small group lesson. You can technically use all of the things that we have mentioned, plus you can do things that you can't do in a large group setting, like crafts, worksheets, puzzles, and small group games. Finally, the last part of your program that you can visualize is the game time or the review time. You can visualize the instructions and the rules. So if the kids ever wonder, what am I supposed to do? You can just point back to the instructions. You can visualize the boundaries so that the kids don't go out of bounds and lose points or get lost. You can visualize the score so that the teams know how they're doing. You can also visualize game elements. For example, if you were playing red light, green light, you can show a red light and a green light, or a red piece of paper or a green piece of paper. The review game is also very important to visualize. Instead of just asking the questions, you can make it visualized by writing the questions on pieces of paper and putting it in a bag. The children will take out the question and answer the review question and earn points for themselves or for their team. Now, there are a lot of other ways you can visualize review games. There's so many, in fact, that's going to be another video for another time. Now, where would you get visuals? Well, first of all, you could buy visuals, or you can make your own, which is what I prefer to do. If you are making your own visuals, here are some tips to keep in mind. First of all, please don't make the kids stare at a wall of text because you're not using the visuals as your notes. This is especially tempting with digital slides, just to put all of your words that you want to say up on the slide. The reason why you don't want to do this is because the kids will be reading the words instead of listening to you. And if what you say is different from what they're seeing, it will distract them. Instead, keep your notes for yourself, and any text that you show them should be short and sweet, like this. Now, there are some exceptions with text-heavy visuals. Like I said earlier, songs and verses are text-heavy, but they are for the kids' benefit. So if you are using a lot of text on your visuals, here are some tips to keep in mind. First of all, choose simple, clean fonts, because kids can't read cursive quickly. I can't read cursive quickly. You want to make the font size big so that everyone can see it. Test it out by looking from across the room and see if you can still see it. When you're choosing font colors and background colors, make it high contrast for readability. For example, you don't want to have dark text on a dark background or light text on a light background. And be careful of painful combinations like yellow on lime green or bright red on bright blue. When you are formatting your text, don't crowd your text, but give your text enough breathing space. This is called white space, and it will help the kids be able to follow along. And if you are making your visuals, sometimes you might run out of space, but be careful not to hyphenate the words because some kids cannot read hyphenated words yet. If it is a song visual, follow the lyrics' natural line breaks. Don't break it right in the middle where it doesn't make sense to break the lyrics. All right, you guys ready to throw in some pictures into the mix? Use clear images, not small images or stretched images or fuzzy images. Choose images that are relevant to the content of the slide. Otherwise, it will distract from the message, even if it's a very interesting and cool-looking T-Rex. When you are making your own visuals and adding pictures, avoid compositions that will make the words hard to read. For example, if you have black text, you don't want to have a dark part of the visual right behind the text. One note before moving on. Respect copyrights on images and lyrics. Sometimes they are copyrighted and there are conditions for you to use them. For example, you have to pay for them, or you have to use it with or within permission, or attribute the content to the creator. If you want to know where you can find pictures and images that you can use, you can check out the description box for recommended resources. So far, we have been using pictures and text to visualize our lessons, but you can also use physical objects. Making your own object lessons is a lot of fun, and once you get started, it's hard to stop. But that's a skill that will require more teaching time, so we're gonna save that for another video. All right, now that you have cool visuals for your songs, verses, Bible lessons, games, and review time, and rules, how do you handle all this coolness? By tuning in and getting more bite-sized training every week. But actually, in all seriousness, our desire is to help you grow as a children's ministry volunteer. And if that is your desire too, check out our other videos on our channel. And if you like and share this video, it helps more people like you find this content. Now, back to the video. How do you handle visuals? If you're teaching in large group, think from the audience point of view. Can they see your visuals? If you want them to see, you should keep your visuals from the waist up. So think about the people in the back as well as the ones on the side, and keep your visuals face up, and you can tilt it down if they're sitting on the ground, and you can rotate so that all edges can see. If you have a very large group, maybe you'll have to walk from one side of the group to the other, or think about expanding your visuals to include a TV screen. If you're using a physical visual that you're holding, be aware of where your hands are. You don't want to cover up parts of the picture or parts of the words with your hand. And if you're using actors, make sure your actors are not blocking your audience's view. You want to have them do a semicircle rather than turn their back on the audience or crowd around each other and block any props that they are holding. And the final tip is if you are writing or drawing something, especially on paper, think about how you can support it so that everyone can see. Otherwise, the time you're writing or drawing will become dead time and you can lose the kids' attention. So remember to show, don't just tell.